Good morning. I am here with a story for all ages, and it starts with a beautiful garden. Ah, such a beautiful garden that so many people had worked so hard to create to be just as it was, with beautiful flowers and plants and trees. And it happened to be near a river. You can't see, but there is also a playground. So many wonderful things. But one day, a flood came and rose and rose and rose and rose so high that it covered almost the entire garden. The whole thing was covered for a long, long time. And finally, those floodwaters receded, but things did not look the same as they had looked before. Ah, some things looked maybe a little better. Most things looked not quite so put together as they had before. And everything looked different. There are some kids who liked to hang out in this garden. And they came to one of their favorite places from before the flood. And all that was there was a big pile of dirt and some rocks and a little bit of leftover grass. And they were really kind of concerned because this isn't how they remembered it. This isn't what they wanted. And they each started to have their own ideas. And they went from happy to kind of sad as they remembered how it used to be and thought about what they wanted and started to talk about it. So here's this big pile of dirt, and one person wants to plant flowers because she remembers how much she loved the flowers that used to be there. And she thinks flowers are the thing that would make it the most beautiful, the best. Someone else said, no. Remember how there was that playground? And there's no way we can have a playground where it used to be. We need to have something here, something fun. We need to have a sandbox or a slide or a swing set or a seesaw or all of those things. And then finally, the third kid spoke up and said, oh, I don't think that we could have a playground right here because this is right near our memorial garden here at our Unitarian Universalist congregation where people's ashes are. And so I think flowers are the way to go. And the first girl was so happy to hear that. And she said, okay, it's 2 against 1. So it's gonna be flowers. And she was very happy. And the other kid was happy, at least, that it was going to be appropriate to be near a memorial garden. But the third kid was really not happy at all. Flowers didn't make any sense to him. And then they remembered we're Unitarian Universalists, and I don't think we should make this decision without really thinking about what it would mean to everyone in the larger community. I wonder, what would they want? And so they thought, and they said, well, everyone does like flowers. And flowers definitely go with memorial gardens. But then they thought about all the families and the kids and where would they play and what would they do? And then they thought flowers are pretty, but there's some people in our congregation and in our community who don't have enough to eat. And this soil looks very rich and fertile. I wonder if we could plant food here. Would that be better? Would planting food by the memorial garden make sense? And they thought, and they thought, and then one of them said, I know, let's ask the land. And they all three sat down and were very still and quiet and just let themselves feel the land and the trees and the air and the space. And when they opened their eyes and looked at each other, they started to look around and they noticed that over, not too far away, but not so easy to see, there was a whole bunch of sand that had collected during the flood. And they thought, that would be an amazing sandbox right over there. It's practically already built for us. And then they looked at each other and they said, the earth wants to grow food. The earth already gives us flowers because they noticed that wildflowers were starting to show up just on the other side of the memorial garden wall. And so they said, oh, let's let nature give us those flowers and we will plant some food. And so they got a lot of people together from the congregation and the community, and they made a very abundant garden that produced all kinds of delicious food. They created a sandbox, and they even hung a swing from a tall tree. And the whole community and congregation felt happy about how things turned out. And nobody even remembered the idea of 2 against 1 in favor of flowers, because everyone was so pleased with what they discovered and created together. This is a story that we can think about in a different way. Once upon a time, we were the keepers of a garden, and that garden is our Unitarian Universalist congregation. And the flood that was the pandemic came and the waters rose and covered our garden to where we could barely recognize it. And then we figured out what to do during the flood. And the flood waters have receded and things look different. Some things are just as good. Some things are better. Some things are missing. So what will we do in this liminal time? A liminal time is an in-between time of uncertainty. What will the future look like? We've changed, the land has changed, and we can still bring our needs, hopes, and dreams to the table to create what will be here next. And so I invite you next Saturday, March 18th, to come to an interactive Zoom gathering and then to come to the Sunday service on March 19th. And what we will be doing is exploring what Wy'east has been, what it is, and what it can be. Everyone is invited. We have a simple RSVP form. And if you RSVP yes, we will send you the Zoom link. And if you RSVP no, there is still a chance for you to give some input and to come on Sunday to the service and have a little conversation about what we've all discovered together. We are Wy'east UU together.